What's up, internet? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to talk about the Dunlop Q3 Plus. I've ridden on 2 sets so far. I've got about 1,000 miles on the current set, and I got almost 9,000 miles on my first set. So let's get into it, man. I'm gonna tell you guys exactly what I think and how I feel about this Dunlop Q3 Plus tire. The Dunlop Q3 Pluses have been out since 2017, and they replaced the Dunlop Q3s. I bought my first set of Q3 Pluses in August of 2018. My motorcycle had 7,127 miles on it. I bought the second set in September of 2020, and my bike had 15,850 miles, I think, on it. So that's 8,700 and some miles, almost 9,000 miles out of a high-performance sport bike tire. That's pretty good in my opinion. When Dunlop set out to make the Q3 Plus to replace the Q3, their main objective was higher mileage without sacrificing performance, and that's usually pretty difficult to do because generally to get higher mileage out of a tire you go with a harder compound. And that's going to decrease performance. So how they do it, they've got a multi-tread technology in these tires. So along the center strip, there's a lot of infusion of silicone, which helps a little bit in the wet weather, but also adds tire life. So if you are a sport bike rider that commutes a lot or goes on long trips, that silicone base or that silicone infusion on that center strip of the tire is going to help you get a lot more life out of the tire while you're on top of the center of the tire, right? And then along the shoulder of the tire, where most of us probably spend the most amount of time when we're in sport mode, if you will, attacking curves and canyons and whatnot, that tire is actually, that part of the tire actually has a softer compound. So when you're leaned over and you're in the shoulder of the tire, or even all the way to the edge of the tire where there's a bit of a carbon infusion near the sidewall, the tire still performs really well. It gives you lots of feedback. But then if you're on a long trip and you're doing a lot of on top of the tire riding, whether it's on the interstate or highways, you're going to get a lot more mileage because of the silicone infusion in that center strip. So Dunlop really tried hard to kind of balance between sport and performance, and with a touch of sport touring kind of mileage out of the tire. That was kind of their target, right? People that maybe aren't full sport touring, but are doing a touch of touring or a touch of commuting on a high performance leader class crotch rocket, for example. That was their goal with this tire, and I think they really did a good job and achieved what they set out to do. The Q3 Plus is W rated, which is like 170 miles per hour. Tire is made for hyper super sport machines like a ZX10, R1, GSXRs. This tire would work at a track. It would probably pass tech inspection at a sanctioning body on a race weekend. I'm not saying go race with this tire, I'm just saying it could. It's that good, and that's what Dunlop made it for. It's starting to sprinkle out here. Come on, people. I'm trying to make a video. What else did we talk about? What haven't we talked about? We didn't talk about Dunlop's Q4. Does the Q4 replace the Q3 Plus? At first, I thought, sure, it does. It's the next generation. But after doing a little bit of research, I found that Dunlop really targeted a different audience with the Q4. The Q4 is not so much focused on higher mileage as it is performance. So if you are looking for a high performance tire that will get great mileage, don't look at the Q4. The Q4 is not a replacement for the Q3 from everything that I've read online about the Q4. The Q4 is definitely more performance focused, definitely more track day centric. We talked about the high mileage. I got 9,000, almost 9,000 miles out of these tires, 8,700 something. That's awesome, I think, for a sport bike tire. We talked about the multi-tread technology that's in the tire. You've got this infusion of silicone on the top of the tire, you've got a softer compound on the shoulder of the tire, and you've got an infusion of carbon on the sidewall for strength and positive feedback, and so the tire performs really well. We talked about the W rating. This is a tire you could take to the track, okay? It's rated for hyper super bikes. What else? What else is there? Wet weather. I don't ride in the rain. I try not to ride in the rain. If you catch me riding in the rain, there must have been like a freak thunderstorm that just was passing through. But also look at this tire. This tire does not have a lot of water grooves in it. It's not made for awesome performance in the wet. But again, as I just said, I have no experience to really kind of give you guys any review or feedback on how this tire performs in the wet, because I just don't ride in the wet. I'm probably 99% of the time, in terms of mileage, dry riding. I think I'm allergic to rain. Speaking of which, I need to hurry up. There's a little thunderhead kind of passing by, so there's a little bit of a sprinkle. All right, so the last thing I'm going to talk about, and this is what really kind of just sold me on how awesome these tires are. I made a video a long time ago. I'll put a link in the right-hand corner of the screen. But basically, long story short, I ran over a spike. I mean, I say spike because this was not just a nail. This thing was huge. I'll put a picture on the screen as well. And I rode, I think I was probably 10 or maybe 15 miles, maybe more like 10 miles away from home. Didn't know it happened. I leaned over in a turn. I was merging onto another, just going through an intersection. Leaned over and I felt the back of the bike kind of skip out, and I thought, man, I must have hit a wet spot. There must have been something on the road surface, what I thought. It wasn't until the next day when I went to go for a ride, and I always do just a quick look over on the bike, I saw this humongous spike sticking through. It basically went through the sidewall and came out the tire, or went through the tire, came out the sidewall. But the fact that tire still had air in it and it rode all the way home, that's a solid tire, man. That right there, just like with the high mileage, the performance, and the experience of that spike going through the tire, and it still was rideable. It's a good tire, man. It's a good tire. So, will I get a third set? I don't know. We'll see when the time comes. I've only got about 1,000 miles on this set. And that's gonna carry me through this season at least, and possibly into the next. We'll see what happens. Got a lot of road trips planned, but if I don't see anything super tantalizing on the market when the time comes to get a new set of tires, I probably will get a third set of Q3 Pluses. But we'll see. Like I said, I've only got 1,000 miles on these tires, so we've got a whole season, and we'll just see what's out there. Maybe I'll go with some Bridgestones, Metzlers, Michelins. I don't know. We'll just see. Pirellis are hot. But right now, I'm loving these Q3 Pluses. They're awesome tires. Highly recommend for anybody who does a majority of dry riding on ZX10s, R1s, GSXRs, these kinds of bikes, CBR, Fireblades, high performance naked bikes. This is a great tire. It does come in a lot of different sizes, so you can actually get these kind of tires for, not these kind of tires, but Q3 Pluses for middleweight bikes as well. You do occasional track days, you commute, and maybe you do some long rides, you want higher mileage, this is your guy, this is your tire, Q3 Plus. I love them. Like I said, second set. Go check out the video. I ended up, because the tire was ruined, it wasn't salvageable because the spike was, it was huge, but it went through the sidewall. That ruins the tire. So I took it out to a parking lot and just did a nice massive burnout. Check out the video, and if you made it this far, thanks for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe, like, share, comment. I love comments. Comments really help the channel and they help the videos. I got a ton of other videos. I think I have like 200 videos. I do both motocross and street. So go check those guys out. A lot of how-tos. I do most of my own work. So replacing fork seals on my motocross bike right now. Video coming out for that. And I think that's about it. So take care, guys. Keep the rubber sight down, and we'll see you in the next video. Later.